Good evening and welcome to our Tuesday, January 21st, 2025 Prior Lake Spring Lake Watershed District Board meeting. And our first order of business is to call this meeting to order in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Our next item on the agenda is for public comment from anybody in the public who wishes to address the Board of Managers on an item not on our agenda. I'm not seeing anybody in our audience, so we're going to move on to the next item. And that is for the approval of the agenda. I don't think there's any changes in the agenda from staff. Any changes? Huh? Oh, that'll be consent. Yeah, that'll be consent. The agenda is good as is. Just need a motion to approve. So moved by Manager Burnett. Second by Manager Tofinelli. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Okay, so we're moving on to programs and projects update from staff. And who's going to go first here?
Thank you, President Loney.
Okay.
I'll kick us off here with programs. So we are still in Prior Lake Fire Station number 2. We've got word that we may be moving back to our original office in the lower level of City Hall here next month. So if you need to get a hold of us, we are available through appointment, call, email, and we'll be ready. So I am here to promote Winter Salt Week, January 27th through the 31st. This is a North American collaborative initiative. It's called Winter Salt Week Awareness. This is just promoting best practices with winter salt. There is a live webinar at wintersaltweek.org. More information on this event is on our website. It's about a 30-minute live stream, and it'll cover a whole gamut of topics on chloride trends and effects and things that can be done to improve our water quality. In addition to the Winter Salt Week, the MPCA is holding a free smart salting training. This is community leaders. One of them is a community leaders workshop, and the other one is for property management to achieve certification in this training. So please promote and attend to help with our preventing chlorides from entering our waters. More information on this is on our website. So last month I talked about the lake report cards. For Upper Prior Lake, our program highlight was our carp management program. I am very pleased to state that we have met our IPM, Integrated Pest Management Plan, goals for reducing the biomass, or the number of carp in Upper Prior Lake to below 100 kilograms per hectare. We are at, from our 2024 mark and recapture study, we are at 34 kilograms per hectare. This has been quite the process over the last 10 years. We've been working to track carp, block their spawning routes, and removing them from the lake. So very excited to announce this, and great job to all involved. But we are not done with carp management. Our new focus is going to be Spring Lake. As of last week, we were out tracking and found 8 of our 11 active radio tags. One of them is not active, so 8 out of 10, and they were moving all around the lake. We will focus on removing these carp this winter, hopefully through some successful seining initiatives. We're also using live sonar imaging to help us locate these carp. So stay tuned. Hopefully we'll have good news and great photos of carp being captured on Spring Lake. Yes, Manager Morkenberg.
So when you look at these locations where you saw the radio attack carp, one of them where you see the most of them, that's fairly close to one of the areas that are good to seine in, is that correct?
That is correct. So the locations that we're seeing them here in sort of the central western basin, we want them to be very close to this north and west shoreline. If they hang out around here, we'll go after them. Out here, it's a little tough because there's no natural breaks for us to use to help them.
And which is the other site that is good for?
The other site's on the eastern bay of Spring Lake. It's over here where my mouse cursor is. Not as historically active for winter aggregations, though if they come over here, we'll still attempt to remove them. So we're waiting for them to move. Historically, that happens where they move to the north and west sometime late January, early February.
Thank you.
That's all I have for the program's update.
Okay, interrupt me if you have any questions for Jeff, but not seeing hands, I'll move into projects. So today I'm going to focus a little bit on the ferric chloride system update, the renovations there. Further, just let you know where we're at in the Prior Lake outlet pipelining, and then kind of give you a peek into some other loose ends we're tying up that will lead to projects. So the first update to give you is that the ferric chloride building improvements are going along very well. We have Total Mechanical Services under contract to do that work. We issued the notice to proceed in early January, and they've jumped right in. The pump design has been approved, tank ordered. They're working with the garage door company to finalize the design now that they know what the structure of the building is like. So you can see the image on the right is one of the schematics in designing the pump skid, which was really thoroughly thought out and a good indicator of how well designed the process will be. They've also given us this proposed schedule, which just gives us an idea of when things are going to happen, and it will be tight to get it all done, but they're moving along as well as possible. So that's a really good sign.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited. The other element of the ferric chloride system that's going to be improved this year is the driveway. A contractor, Finch Excavating, was selected for that work. They will likely begin working in April when the ground is thawed, with substantial completion in May 31st. We're just wrapping up the last few contracting details with that, but their schedule is ready to go. So that is looking good as well. To give you an update on the Prior Lake outlet pipelining project, this project, we wrapped up grant funding agreement so that we could move forward. We've got our engineer reworking. We updated their contract so we could get that moving and posted on Quest CDN. That was posted, an advertisement on January 7th. We'll be updating that with the bid construction documents now, and the bids will be opened on February 7th. So that's when we'll see what contractors have bid on it. We've already received some questions, so which is a good sign. And the idea with having the bids advertised early this year is that if by chance a contractor does happen to have an open window end of February, they could potentially complete it in this winter. However, we do expect that next winter is much more likely, going to be more competitive, and just more likely that someone has availability in their schedule. But if we do have a contractor that has bid and wants to complete this year, we would instigate a PLOC special cooperators meeting to award that bid so that they can implement that this year. Yes, Manager Loney.
Question on, I know it's out for bids, but so if a contractor, I mean, the pricing could be different if they did in 2025 versus 2026. So, I mean, low bid, are they going to have to indicate when they're going to do the work or not?
They will. They will indicate what their schedule is.
Okay,
Yep.
so the low bid will be the low bid, price-wise, period.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good question. And then lastly, just lots of smaller pieces kind of coming to fruition here from our data collection season. We finally received LiDAR study and survey data from Scott SWCD for the Buck Lake Flood Storage Project area. That'll help us just understand what the historic lake levels have been. So that is now on a USB handed over to Anne, and EOR will begin to process that so we will know what it means. We also worked with Scott SWCD to do a drone vegetation survey on Sutton Lake. That's part of a long-term study and probably 10 years or so to understand how that lake level change will affect the dominant plants that we're seeing in Sutton Lake. So those things are in process, and just wanted to mention those. And that's all I had for projects right now.
Any questions on either subject from staff? Any questions? Okay, very good. Thank you. We are moving ahead here to our item 4.2, which is a ferric chloride system assessment. And I don't know is staff going to handle this or?
It's the next one. Here we go. Oh, I got it.
This is actually a carryover from the last meeting,
Correct.
correct?
Yep.
And so, and the recommendation action is to accept this 2024 ferric chloride system assessment report. But
Yep.
go ahead and give us any more further information.
Yep, I'll just briefly review this first section that's up here. Was really done in 2023, looked at our current system and told us what we needed to update. And so that portion of the report has been acted on. We're doing that construction right now. Those were previous votes. This report got a little funky because we had drought and we weren't able to complete the jar testing that was needed for the second section, which was optimizing the system. And so that remaining part, the system optimization, was completed in 2024. And so it's been a little bit disjointed, so I want to acknowledge from the staff perspective that we wouldn't do this again because there's a section that's already been acted on. In implementation, we've in essence accepted its advice, and now there's this newer section. So I just wanted to give that context that the new information is really the areas that change would be impactful. Edits to the old information would be more of a making sure our paper trail doesn't have any major errors in it, given the fact that those recommendations have been utilized to move forward already. And with that, the vote today would be to accept the system assessment report. That would be staff's recommendation. It doesn't commit the district to any action. It just basically accepts the report from EOR as their professional opinion and allows us to use the report as incitations for future plans, grant applications, etc. So if the board chooses not to accept, then it would just remain in draft form. That's kind of
Okay. Any questions for Emily on this? I think you did mention that this report, if we accept, can be used for future grant applications. Is that, I read that in the report here somewhere.
Yeah, we couldn't cite a draft report in any application, yep.
So to me, that's probably the biggest thing in the report, is that we can use it for getting any more grant applications or other things like that. Manager Boyles, you want to say something?
As I recall, last time Commissioner Toffanelli had some good observations about the report. Have you any more?
Were all addressed to my satisfaction.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask too. Okay, is there any other questions or comments on the report?
Move approval.
Is that a motion, Frank?
Yep.
Motion to approve accepting the report by Manager Boyles,
Second.
second by Manager Toffanelli. Boy, that's a first for you guys.
Want to switch?
Doesn't mean I have to vote with it.
Oh, that's true, that's true. He says, okay, any more questions? All right, not hearing or seeing any. All in favor of the motion to accept the 2024 Fair Chloride System Assessment Report, vote aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Very good. Okay. Now we're going to go to item 4.3, and this is a item to approve board officers for, as listed for the coming year. And as I've been duly corrected by Administrator Giese, this really is an election, not an appointment. But we can, if we're okay with the slate of officers we have now, or we can make one motion to approve it all, if everybody agrees to that. So currently, I'm the president. Vice president is Manager Boyles. Secretary is Manager Burnett, and treasurer is Manager Morganberg. So if we are okay with those positions staying on for 2025,
And then Manager Toffanelli, of course.
he doesn't have a position.
He's our roving expert.
He's at large.
Positionless.
He's at large or something like that. I don't know. He's here. That's what we care about. Okay,
May I move?
you can move. Do you want to move?
I would move the existing slate of officers.
Second, okay, motion by Manager Boyle, second by Manager Burnett to move the existing slate of officers that are currently in positions for 2025. Any questions or any comments? I think everybody, we discussed this at our workshop. Okay, everybody is in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. All right, so now we're going to go to liaison appointments. And I think we discussed this at the workshop, and there's a list of appointments here. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 liaison positions. Some we don't really do much with, some we do a lot with. But
Are you showing off?
no, I just want to let everybody know how many positions we have. So I think we decided to keep them the same, but I just want to open it up. Everybody want to keep the liaisons the same for now?
I'll make a motion that we keep them the same.
Okay, motion by Manager Toffanelli, keep them the same.
Second.
Second by Manager Boyles. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? Okay, you guys are ready to vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Now we're going to go to item 4.5, which is a termination of a watershed development agreement. And I assume Manager Giese is going to handle this?
President Loney and managers. So in 2008, the Watershed District entered into a watershed development agreement with Shepherd of the Lakes Church for the installation of 2 infiltration areas. And we will refer to those infiltration areas on the map as the west infiltration area and the east infiltration area. In 2017, the Shepherd of the Lake parcel subdivided, and the city of Prior Lake took ownership of the Shepherd's Path Park, which is, okay, I'm not, sorry, trying to run my mouse. So where my mouse is, that is now under City of Prior Lake ownership as a public park. In 2017 as well, a portion of the parcel was sold off to Episcopal Homes, who own this building in this area where my cursor is, along with a parcel along County Road 42, where the East Infiltration Basin is located. The Shepherd of the Lakes Church is in the process of selling another portion of their parcel where the location that used to be the old YMCA building, along with a infiltration basin, a stormwater basin, and another open lot to a seller. In the process of trying to sell these parcels, the original watershed development agreement that was put in place for the West Basin and the East Basin actually applied for the entire parcel, even though those basins are not on the area to be sold. So we were approached to see if we could remove that developer's agreement from the parcels. And in doing research, we really believe we can terminate this development agreement in its entirety. So the requirement in the original development agreement states that this agreement shall terminate on the date that the infiltration areas are dedicated to and accepted by the City of Prior Lake for infiltration purposes. In the absence of such dedication and acceptance, the agreement will remain in effect and shall be enforceable by the district for a term of 30 years from the date thereof. After such time, this agreement shall extend automatically for successive periods of 10 years unless an instrument signed by the then owner and the district has been filed for record modifying or terminating this agreement. So in essence, our development agreement is still in effect because there has not been an official acceptance by the City of Prior Lake for these infiltration areas. In the research that we have done in collaboration with assistance with Scott Soil and Water, we believe that the city's ownership of the park where the West Infiltration Basin is located and the city's ongoing maintenance activities sufficiently meets the intent of dedicated to and accepted by the City of Prior Lake. For the East Basin, which also treats water from County Road 42 and has a drainage and utility easement over it by Scott County, the city maintains that infiltration area as well. Given the fact that while the city does not own this land, there is a cooperative agreement between the city and Scott County where the city maintains the county's stormwater facilities within the city. Therefore, staff once again believes that this agreement and the ongoing maintenance meets the intent of dedicated to and accepted, with the condition that we receive a written commitment from the city regarding their intent to continue maintenance. So staff is recommending a motion to authorize the district administrator to terminate the watershed development agreement, document number A816076, conditioned on receipt of written commitment for continued maintenance from the City of Prior Lake in form and content acceptable to the district administrator.
Okay. And this agreement, if I read it right, was signed in 2008, so it's been around a while.
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay, any questions for Administrative DC on her report? So one question, does Scott County is that the east infiltration basin that,
That is correct, Manager Loney. The east infiltration basin is treating water from County Road 42.
It-
That is
they-
the basin that Scott County has a drainage and utilities
they have an
over.
easement? Yep, okay, that's why I wanted to make sure that they have an easement there, so. And I know the cities and Scott County have an agreement on maintenance. There's an actual written signed agreement.
That's my understanding.
And I assume you've already talked to the city and they're willing to do the written commitment?
My understanding is that it's in the works.
Okay.
Okay, and that's why it's contingent.
That's why it's contingent. And once again, the city has continued to maintain that east basin.
Okay.
Good question. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Manager Boyle?
There is, this is neither here nor there with respect to these parties, I fear. There is a walkway that connects to the, what do you call that? The little building out here.
Right here?
Does anyone have credit for that or take credit for that? It needs to be rebuilt at some point.
The kind of the boardwalk structure in the middle of the park.
Yeah, it's actually a walkway, but the walkway is heaved back and forth. It's not safe. I'm just wondering, will it end up kind of in no person's land, or?
It is a city park, so it really is the city's discretion on what
Okay.
they're going to do with that walkway.
Thank you.
Okay.
Manager Tofanil?
Manager Tofinelli?
So are we voting to move forward with this or move forward on the contingency of the city maintaining this? And it's unclear to me the time frame of their commitment. From what I'm reading, written commitment regarding their intent for continued maintenance. Is that forever, or what is the time span on this?
Manager Tofanelli, that's a very good question. An original draft of this memo had maintenance into perpetuity. But the development agreement doesn't require a commitment for perpetuity. It just says that the city will take over maintenance responsibilities. And then we would terminate the development agreement.
Trying to
So-
understand if that gives them a loophole to cease because they,
To cease maintenance.
yes.
If the managers would like to put in a time frame of maintenance commitments that you would like to see in this, in their commitment, we certainly can do that. I thought perpetuity was a little onerous and long, without knowing, if land transfers. We could say perpetuity under, well, for the city with the park for their ownership of the park. Or, so it's a little,
It's my opinion that we ask for everything we want, knowing we can renegotiate down. I don't really like something that seems not to define a time period. So, my opinion, and I want to make sure I understand this, that's really the question.
and, I mean, once again, we're looking for your direction on what you're acceptable in looking to receive so once again, the ask is to terminate this development agreement upon receipt of a commitment from the city for maintenance responsibilities. If we want to put a time frame and onto that, commitment, we can do that.
So if we said something to the effect, with the understanding that this is an ongoing commitment. Doesn't use the word perpetuity, but ongoing kind of gets you the same avenue.
I really like that word. I'm not going to say it, but I like it. But I would defer to you, who has experience in this arena, for what makes sense. I'm out of my league with how these work, so I would defer to my governmental guru.
Matt's making a good point, though, he's catching.
I-
There's potentially a loophole here. When I see the word continuum maintenance, but I also want to know maintenance of what?
Yeah. That's why.
Maintenance of stormwater facilities. As long as they're stormwater facilities, they have to be maintained.
Well, and it is a public, literally a public piece of land now, right? And so the public is going to want to walk out to that little gazebo, whatever the heck you call it. Is that going to be maintained? Now, that's something separate and apart from this, I understand, but still something. Is this something that has to be dealt with right now? Could the staff get a clarification on that point so we all understand the direction we're going, or is this subject to a deadline?
There is no hard deadline on this. I mean, we're trying to move this along for the sake of,
Sure.
of the sale of the property. And legal counsel did review this, didn't give me any concerns, and he usually tags me on everything. So this did not raise the question. I would also say that the city is an MS4, and so they are required to maintain stormwater facilities as part of their MS4 permit. So we could say ongoing infiltration maintenance, in conformance with their MS4
Sure.
permit responsibilities.
And that's, the maintenance of this agreement is mainly with stormwater facilities?
This is all about the maintenance of infiltration area, the west and the east infiltration areas.
Like the walkway that Frank's referring to is not,
That does not apply. It is purely for the maintenance of the west and the east infiltration areas.
well, would the motion be best read then, continue maintenance of stormwater facilities per this agreement from the city of Prior Lake as per their MS4 permit? Or something like that effect, or, I mean, I could come up with some better wording maybe, but I'm trying to listen to Matt's concerns and so that we have it covered, I guess, that you have enough
And
board's concern.
yeah, if there's concern, I mean, once again, we can table this and I can come back next month. It's not going to be end of the world with better language.
So moved.
Motion was to table.
Yep.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Manager Burnett. There's no discussion on a table motion. It's all, we just to vote for it. All in favor of the motion to table, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Carried 4-1. Did you vote yea? Okay. It's been tabled. We'll see you next month. Okay. So with that, we're going to go to the treasurer's report.
Yes, thank you very much. Overall, we are in good standing starting 2025. Every year in January, we have many things to review and still receive of bills and payments. There's so many expenses that are being paid here in January and even beyond that. In the general fund, there's two things that we are correcting right now, appropriate corrections, and with that, when that is done, then the general fund expenses are under budget. Similarly, with the implementation fund, probably the biggest invoices that are still coming are from Scott County Soil and Water Conservation District, and these are funding things like the cost share program, Farm-led Council, permitting, easement inspections and violations, bark stream construction, and the 200th Street pond improvements on Spring Lake. It's a very good relationship we have with Soil and Water Conservation District. We are spending more money on it this year than we did last year, but they are also helping us get a lot of things done. So I think very much appreciated by Manager Giese and our staff. The one thing you can see also is the Spring Lake demonstration account is over budget. However, it's not a big dollar number, and the reason why it's over budget is that we had to do the survey of the wetland, and Manager Giese will bring forward more discussions on the Spring Lake demonstration project, and probably we will be renaming it with a new name for next year, so it's a little bit more broad coverage of projects of that kind. We will receive another draft of the year-end financials once we have these bills coming in, and we have a full picture of it. And these will also be ready for the audit, which will be this year, March 20 and 21. And then again, under Manager Giese's expertise, we will be ready for the audit. The committed funds have been are reflecting the budget that we did, and as an example, where we discussed alum treatments earlier today, and right now the alum fund is a little over $900, which is probably not enough to treat several lakes, but we'll look at that going forward. The budget for 2025, we will use more than $1 million of our reserves to fund 2025 projects and programs. Having said that, we will still, we received our second TAC remittance in December, and that will be used to fund the cash flow over the next 6 months, and we should have enough cash anticipated through 2025. We also have enough cash if we were required to pay for the PLOC lining project in 2025, where we are required to pay the funds initially before we receive the grants from the MPCA fund. And again, thank you to our great staff for getting this grant and getting the grant that we will use for the Swamp Lake Iron Enhanced Sand Filter. And there's a lot of effort that goes into writing the grant applications, of science research behind it, data, as well as writing the grant and revising everything so that our wording, our project management plan is good. So thanks for all your efforts there. Finally, the cost analysis, which is the last one you look at, is just an alternate way of looking at the district expenditures, where you can see the different contractors that we're working with, what the expenses are as a percent of a total expenditure. And finally, I just want to mention that this cash sheet here, that the one you have in your board packet had an incorrect statement about the total tax levy, that has been corrected, and that's what you see in this corrected version here.
Okay.
So overall, the status is good, and I think we were conservative with our 2025 budget, which was good, and let's go and make a difference.
Yeah, it looks like we're in good shape to
Yeah.
take on some of these projects this year, which is good. That's what we've been planning for.
Yes.
Very good. Any questions on Christian's treasurer's report? Any? Okay, everybody's good? All right. We're off to a good start for this year. The consent agenda is next, and there's 15 items on there. And I've been informed that items 6.1 and 6.15 need to come off. Is there anything else from staff? I think that was it. There are just some typo errors in there that need to be corrected. Any other items wish to be pulled by board members? Okay, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda with removing 6.1 and 6.15.
So moved.
Moved by Manager Burnett,
Second.
second by Manager Tofinelli. All in favor of approving the consent agenda as modified, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, Joni, I'll let you explain 6.1 and 6.15.
President Loney and managers, we noticed on the workshop meeting minutes that there was an error in the date on the minutes. So right now, the minutes that are in the packet state that the date for the workshop was Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. That date had not been updated. The correct date should be Tuesday, December 17th for the workshop meeting minutes. So we're asking that item 6.1, workshop meeting minutes for December 17th be amended to reflect the correct date of December 17th on the meeting minutes. For agenda item 6.15, once again, just correcting a typo for the records, because people do go back and look at these down the road, so we want them to be clear and well understood. In the staff memo, for item 6.15, the EOR scope of services, Upper Prior Lake post-alum treatment sediment core analysis, in the section under the background, in the last sentence, we would like to make a change where the word graft should actually be the word grant. So the last sentence under background should read, the 2020 alum treatment was majority funded by a Clean Water Fund competitive grant that holds the district to an insurance agreement that requires the district to conduct the second treatment and meets state water quality standards for the 10-year life of the project. So staff is recommending approval of the staff memo and associated analysis as amended.
Okay. Should we take these one at a time then? Okay, item 6.1 is the workshop meeting minutes, and with the change of the date from November 19th, 2024 to December 17th, 2024. Anybody want to make a motion to approve the?
Moved.
So moved.
Motion by Manager Morkenberg, second by Manager Boyles.
Sorry.
I think you got second that time. All right, all in favor of the approval of 6.1 with the date change, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then 6.15 is the EOR work order, sediment coring on Upper Prior. We want to approve a change in the memo, but then also approve the agreement. So 6.5 would be a motion to approve EOR scope of services for Upper Prior Lake post-alum treatment sediment core analysis with the text change of, in the background, I guess, with the text change as mentioned by Administrator Giese of grant versus graft. Anybody? So who, Burnett, Manager Burnett made that motion.
Second.
Second by Manager Morkenberg. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Well, we're at the point of upcoming meetings. Manager Boyles, would you do me the honor? You're on.
Right.
You're on.
Yes, sir. I will do that. We have 246 meetings to tell you folks about. Farmers-led council meeting will be this Thursday, January 23rd, 12:30 at the Spring Lake Town Hall. The CAC meeting will also, the CAC meeting will be Thursday, January 30th, 6 p.m., Fire Lake City Hall in the Parkview Conference Room, the large conference room on first floor. There's a tentative special PLOC Cooperators meeting on Tuesday, February 11th, 2 p.m. That could be virtual or link or in person. Could it be any one of the three or just the two?
It will be virtual, and the link will be posted on our website
Okay.
when that meeting is confirmed.
All right, sorry about that. Board of Managers Workshop is Tuesday, February 18, 4 p.m., City Hall, Parkview Conference Room. The actual Board of Managers meetings, same night, Tuesday, February 18, 6 p.m., here in these council chambers. And the final meeting I want to talk to you about is the PLOC Cooperators meeting, Thursday, February 20, 12 noon, Fire Lake City Hall, Parkview Conference Room. And by the way, it is Hockey Day Minnesota this weekend, and I knew it's frozen water, so it does apply to what we're doing. The end.
Is that hockey, where's that at?
It's in Shakopee.
There you go.
You had to push Shakopee, didn't you?
Actually helped with that. Okay, so, very good, a lot of meetings. It's the end of our meeting, so I need a motion to adjourn. Made by Manager Nelly,
Second.
second by Manager Burnett. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Oh, motion carried. We are adjourned at 6:55.
Look at that, getting better all the time.
Good night, everybody. I didn't have
Good night.
Mike.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Any particular things to remember there or prepare?